Good morning, everybody. So the come a little bit of a grind. Yes, grind lower continues to the targeted area. S&Ps, we'll get to that. They touched almost 5,000, got within a few points, and things moved up off of there yesterday. So looking at the futures here, current contract, and it's getting closer to the targeted zone, this major support area. As I'm looking at this and thinking, I'm thinking, the futures aren't already down into that number. Often the futures lead on the way down, but we'll see if it gets there today. We were hoping for kind of a 1, 2, 3, 4 yesterday, which the futures weren't exactly setting that up, but we'll look at the S&Ps. But by definition, it's a wide range bar, breaking support or resistance on the way up. And you get an inside bar in the lower quarter third or so. And then the number 3 bar trades within that area, but takes out the high of the inside bar, and then you get a continuation down. It's a very, very nice pattern because we've discussed wide range bars being voids, creating voids in a smaller time frame. And you can see that here, the void as it moves down, and then it created this resistance, real choppy back and forth, and another little leg down. Whereas what could have happened was you get the drawing thing out here. You know, it stays, like in here, and it just chops around for a day, and then on the 3 day it pops above and then comes back down, and it builds a nice base. So on the daily chart, you've got a nice launching pad to go lower. So that didn't happen, but just pointing out what that is. We've got some stocks that have formed that, and we'll take a look at those. So targeted area down here, we look at multiple markets to see when one might have reached already the targeted area. Maybe not the other. Sometimes one gets there before. You can see the futures anyway are down on the 20 MA on the daily, which is the same as the 100 on the weekly, is the same as the 100 on the daily. So if you put a 100 MA on there, you'll see it touched yesterday's low. So again, we're close here. Yesterday said it's probably going to be a few weeks. We could form a buy setup, just as we look at different markets, just coming down here, and then it's got to, form its bottoming action, whatever that may look like. We shall see. The markets are just flip-flopping back and forth here. The economic data that came out obviously was a yawn. Numbers were, well, the 4-week jobless claims were the same as they were the previous time. Initial jobless claims were the same. This manufacturing index, that was a big jump. But the markets looked at this like whatever, no big deal. Anyway, you got some Fed guys speaking. I guess one now, one in a few minutes, and then some numbers at 10 o'clock. Keep an eye on some auctions at 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock. So keep that in mind, because these auctions, there's been days where they've made the equity markets move in a significant way, depending on how those things go. So keep that in mind. Spiders, you can see here's the wide range bar. It was chopping around, and then buyers couldn't take it any higher. Down it went. So unfilled gap, it's in that area. Looking for it to come down there. Right now, it's just flip-flopping around in the lower part of yesterday's bar. Not a big deal. Hasn't reached a target. No significant resistance. And we'll see how long it takes to get down there. What we want to see is buyers, puke it out, throw in the towel. What's coming tomorrow as far as economic numbers? Nothing. There's nothing tomorrow. Some Fed guy talking at 10:30, and some oil stuff. Yeah. So no news items. So I guess the market will just have to find its way down the path toward this support area, which ultimately that we want to see it get down there. See, it came here and touched that 500, kind of poked underneath there and poked up. So what typically happens, and we talked about this in MT Live, I showed you the open interest at the 5,000 strike in puts and calls. And what often happens is, the ensuing battle goes on where it chops back and forth in that area. And, because this trend is down, you would assume, at some point, one side throws in the towel and it spikes down here. So we'll see how that plays out. Yeah, maybe, Alex. I suppose so. Waiting for Israeli, which, the news item you shared in the room was that it was imminent. I guess their meaning of imminent isn't as imminent as the most. Which I guess to them it means it's coming, but imminent to me means like any moment now. Look out your window. There's going to be rockets flying, and that wasn't the case. So anyway, look, the low risk entry point, whether it's a day trade, it's a swing trade, is to have prices at a support area like this, give or take, and then you start getting price action that is in alignment with that support area. And so what we want to see. I'll just draw this out here. What we want to see is prices, eventually come down here. And so now you get the price action. I think a couple of weeks ago, we covered voids in MT Live. You get the price action move that creates the void down. And then you get the time action, whatever that's going to look like, the time action to move prices away from the scary moment, so to speak, and away from whatever resistance there is and build a little base. And then it makes its counter trend move. Where that might make it to, well, we don't know. There's going to be some overhead resistance right there. So we'll just have to see how this all plays out. Right now, we just don't know. What we have is a bias that is prices should come down into this area, and we are waiting. Plain and simple. All right, SPX, things are jiggling around a bit. Just double check. That's what I had there. There's 49.50s at major support. It's far away. And like any day, see in the opening moments where the prices take maybe in this case, a dive or maybe up. And these, where this premium is, it's a balancing act because depending on when it happens, like if it happens early, the juice, as Dan calls it, or the premiums will increase at the lower strikes. We'll make it a no-brainer. So there's 49.50 now is 65 by 75, which isn't much. Things are moving around. So 49.55, but you get the idea. Things move around, but you can be close to this major support area where there's going to be buyers, or a major resistance area, or a whole number like 5,100. And that the likelihood of getting through that is pretty slim. And so now, this 50.95 is still okay. But when I give these numbers, realize this is there's a few ways of doing that, but there is a difference as to this approach versus doing a stock credit spread. The foundation is the same, but with these being able to get so far away, with a stock credit spread, you're usually looking 5 wide, 10 wide. Whereas with these, you can go 20 wide. And granted, if it goes down there, it's not going to be pleasant. But we're talking about probabilities. And that's all a credit spread is I believe that it is a low probability that prices can go to one number or another number within a allotted time period. In this case, the end of the day. And so as we look at this, we look at support, we look at resistance, we look at where those are versus the strike price, and think, is it likely to go up here? Prices are give or take around here right now. Are they likely to go up there? Well, they could, but I think it's highly unlikely because it would have to get through this resistance, these overlapping bars. Is it likely to go down here? I kind of hope that it does, but if it starts diving down there, you'll be able to do down below. So some common sense applied. Okay. NASDAQ futures on some major support. They showed some relative strength yesterday. They held up there. It's not a textbook 1, 2, 3 because down bar, holding down bar, major support. This maybe going to go sideways a bit, and then we'll see if it drops even further. This is what it's going to be interesting. It's always interesting, but more interesting because this has reached support. The S&Ps have not. Does this have some ability to go up, or does it break? Below here, there was no support. So, everybody's kind of walking on eggshells a little bit here, waiting for, to get to support areas. And what's going to happen? No one's coming to the rescue here with economic numbers that are going to save the day. So the path of least resistance for the S&P is lower. This is here. It may continue to show some relative strength. I mean, they came in and bought, it was yesterday, Apple. And then when things didn't hold up, they came, there was some buyers down here. And then when it didn't hold up, it just, flipped right back down again. So here it's down on this pivot. When does it begin to hold? SMH. Now we talked about that was showing some strength holding at the 50. That broke and it's into this unfilled gap. I'm just going to throw this up here for now out of the way. And so this now breaking down and closing below the 50 suggests it should come down here to this pivot low. And look at that. Pre-market up and down. And yeah, I guess that they reported TSM. I guess maybe that's what the report, and it flipped right back down again. So the same way at the S&Ps needed to get support, we need to see this get near support. And with that being said, if the semiconductors are going to go down, where is this now? It's just hanging at the bottom here. This needs to come down here and test that major support, or maybe this one down, that next pivot down there, and they're unfilled gaps. So, we've got this big old rounding top here. Bearish, big rounding top. And so will this hold? Is it going to come here? We don't know. Right? What we do know is that there isn't much support to stop it from going down there. All right. So here, let's clean that mess up. Financials, filling the gap, holding. What's going to hold the S&Ps up? Well, financials need to. They're up here a little bit, not a big deal. Oil and crude oil bouncing off of support. XLE. Do I have that in here? Yeah, XLE here. Let's see where that's at. Up a little bit. So this is the idea of prices reaching some support. This is what we call minor support. And now that this is here, we have to see a couple of days. Keep an eye on this. Came down kind of hard, and we don't like it when they start with wide range bars. But if this can have 3 or 4 days, which takes us into next week of holding this area, that'll be a trade setup that we would consider. Not yet. It's too early. Russell futures on major support, they should show some relative strength. And, so for that, we need to see regional banks show a little strength. I don't know what's going on here, but, everything looks pretty ugly. Some things are on support. Biotechs, XBI, if this can get down here to the 200 that's lined up with that pivot, that might be enough on the downside. Internals percentage. Uh, Below the 20 MA, is that an extreme percentage below the 20 MA? Okay, so that's helpful to know, but we need our price patterns. Let's see what I can't show you here, but now that you've mentioned that, it makes me want to look at the percentage above or below the 40 is on support. That's S&P. Let's see here. Not quite on support yet, but it is at an extreme. Percentage above or below the 40 is at an extreme. And the 200's got a ways to go. So, all right. Let's see what else. Bitcoin is up a little bit. It's been flailing around. That looks like a 1, 2, 3. Our internals here. I think that flipped up a little yesterday. Option. We need to see these option traders bet on a crash. Right? We need to see them betting on a crash. Day-to-day put call. Okay, so that's a good sign into the close there, But we need to see some more of that. And then we'll know that we're close. Look at gold. It's just still chopping. Silver's still chopping. Interest rates, I'm going a little fast here because it's a little time, but that's really not doing much of anything. That's just consolidating for now. So, we wait more. Oh, well, that was JPM, not JPM. The trucking company down yesterday. UAL was up, but I mean, look, there's a lot of ugliness, and the way things look, where support is further away, more ugliness is yet to come. So, I mentioned, last about gold. Jay's asking. Gold's short-term extended. We sold our position in the ETF letter on this reversal day. So we're kind of hoping it comes in a little bit. And GDX, I know that's up at resistance. You can see up here. And so that reached there and backed off. So these are consolidating a bit. It'll take a little time. So all yours, Dan.
Good morning. Yeah, so yeah, what makes it difficult on the
I don't hear
turn?
Dan. Does anybody hear Dan?
I should be
So if it's
on.
me.
Yeah, it's you. Sound check. Yeah, I'm on. All
Speaker.
right, thanks.
Okay, I see it's got. I see what's wrong.
Screen check there, because yeah, that sometimes takes stupid Zoom. All right, so kind of Greg, what I was indirectly saying there, you didn't maybe see my comment about a V bottom. I mean, you're discussing the wonderful easy setup, right? You're discussing, yeah, let's come down here and consolidate and double bottom, cooked internals, and that's 8-year-old Johnny can buy those bottoms. The more difficult ones are um, a V bottom, even if it's just for a 1 to 3 day bounce with the cooked internals. Um, my power's down, but I just don't, I hate when we miss a beautiful bounce saying, well, I didn't line up. So, I missed 100-point run in the spiders, in the SPX. All right. So we said yesterday into the close, I had no idea if we were going to get up or down based on the market and based on these jobs, numbers that we just had. And we're up a little. I said my bias is still down, provided we don't go over this 15-minute pivot, which I have no idea what caused that yesterday. I don't care. But now that would be a deep retracement in the prior bar. So ideally, we just slop around for 30 minutes and then I'll start shorting under this 15-minute base right here. We've been fully short, in all three of our letters, been in trail mode, still have wonderful open positions. Let's see, my alarm on ACLS went off. We're in this one. My alarm at 105 went off here. So I'll give it a few minutes and then tighten the stop. IHI, we are short. My alarm went off. This is in our ETF letter. AI alarm, we're not in. Nah, this one little spike right there. This is a Climo, but there's zero turn yet. Let me just reset my alarm. AI, I had an alarm at 21. Spot alarm went off. Alex mentioned this yesterday. It's a little bull flag here, buy setup weekly. Had a big gap there coming in, so no rush. NOW alarm. Bear 123. It's on major support, but it's a bear 123 with a void. So I got an alarm at 7:36. Let's go to earnings now. The CCI is a tier 1 setup for me. It's called a bull gap surprise. It's a Climo, and when we reviewed these yesterday in the green room, we'll get to them in a second. There's a number of them in here that are potential gap and snaps, which mean same setup, but they gap down as an exhaustion gap. Now this one's gapping up over a red bar. So it's the same concept, but instead of that gapping down, it's a bullish gap up with a void. So if this can hold 10, 15-minute high, start off as a day trade long, I'll be looking for 1 DTE put spreads, or EFX. Where are you gapping? See, so that I would like this to be cooked more to the downside before trading that as a bull gap surprise, but bullish gap, we'll see how it holds. KMI up a little, no pattern. I mean, I looked at all these already once, and that CCI was the best one. LBS under pressure here, but it's gapping to this prior low. Rexer, I was hoping would gap down a couple dollars as a gap and snap. But another bull gap surprise watch. I was, we already talked about it. Liberty, it is a bullish gap, but it's from an M top resistance, so I have no interest in that. It's going to delete it. BDN trades like garbage. See, I only leave something here if there's a reason that I want to come back and look at it. Otherwise, I'm just going to delete it. Slug, I'm going to delete it. It's opening flat and there's no pattern. I go long or short. Same. This one, I don't see any prints, but another gap and snap candidate. If this gap's down, bigger the better. Gap down $8. I don't care. 5, 4. This one's garbage. A lot of these banks are trading sloppy at 34, gap into the bottom of the range, no interest. EFX 215. All right, I just throw this one in the category. Well, this is a gap and snap candidate. So look how big that's a nasty gap. So look at that. But there's still a big void here. So I have no idea what it's going to do. But it's right here in the middle chart. green and well, the problem is I would have to make a new minder, Don, because otherwise it's gonna, I got 400 stocks on this. I only have one minder on this laptop. So that is the problem with that idea. But yeah, I could make a new minder just of earnings. Yeah, also that woman came out and started talking hawkish also. What's her name? Ozark, bullish gap. I have no interest in it as a directional, but this could be a puts run. Yesterday's low, if there's any juice. DFS up a little, we'll come back. No, that is I forget her name. Well, give me all the women's name. Like she's a voting member. Is it? Is it voting? She's a voting member woman. So Martin Master, yes, Master. Reminds me of Lester from the Adams family. Or maybe Mester was the butler's name. Butler in Adams family, Mester. All right, Martin was was a, I'm not gonna touch that at 9:30 in the morning. This would have been a gap and snap candidate, but it shows it opening flat. Garbage. Garbage. This one, if it opens flat, like I don't see any prints. If it opens flat, this looks like a 10-minute low short to the 200. ELV 521 bullish gap. That's a buy on a pullback. I'm going to put that in a window, other computer. ELV. That's a very bullish gap. So I like that one a lot. So my ACLS alarm did go off. So let's move stop break even now. Well, that's my only alarm so far. It's kind of strange. Usually I get all kinds of alarms going off the open. All right, Q's breaking down from the pre-market 5-minute support. So yeah, this is one of our many shorts. Oh, that's very amazing. That's the only alarm I have. All right, ELV I'm watching, CCI I'm watching. Let me see if there's any that spot. Oh, spot gave up that gap. So obviously no rush for that. CCI. I'm sure it's going to be extremely spready. Well, 95 is 35 by 110, 92 and a half is 1535. Not enough choose. But 30-minute high, I would say target is a 20 MA. Pelletier. Yeah, my alarm didn't go off. Let me see what number I had. But yeah, Pelletier looks good. We are long puts. No, I had an alarm at 21 as well. Now NOW. Greg, what do you think? NOW on short.
Yeah, it's okay. QCOM maybe for a call spread, Dan.
All
Gap
right,
down today, but you
here.
get above yesterday's bar, maybe.
All right, hold on. Will you would give me a stop on NOW? I don't want it over the big giant one.
It's got to be above yesterday's, a little bit above yesterday's high, maybe 750.
Seven. Yeah, that's what well, yeah, I mean, that's a no-brainer. I thought you were gonna, say 755 or whatever. Why don't we do
You know,
751?
had 2 days at the bottom of the wide range bar, so
All right.
now it's one day.
All right. I'll post it in a minute. Intuit, Alex, early alarm. You and I talked about that yesterday. I like IGV.
Oh,
Uh,
the spread on that is almost $3, so don't hit the bid.
on now.
Yep.
All right, then
I
um
mean, you can offer out, but I'm letting you know that the spread is $2.76 at the moment. I mean, it's a $700 stock,
no,
but
no,
you can get in between there.
yeah, no, I'm gonna cancel for them. I don't want them messing with them.
I mean, it
All right.
works both ways on the way down. You bid for it.
Sam knows about the both way situation.
I don't know what that means. I don't want to go there. You're too much, man.
ECL alarm. Are we in this? This looks good. New trade. Let me look. I forget we have so many shorts. No, we're not in this. This looks good. Um, let's short this. Stop. Today's Thursday. Tuesday's high. Okay. Yeah, that's not my style at all. Prior high of 3 bars, Climo on the 15-minute chart. This FTNT short. Not bad, Deb. It's a little far from the 20. We've been talking about this a lot in the green room that I like them, closer to more consolidation bars. Pelletier low alarm. All right, well then, yeah, then go for it with her. ACLS low. And I see I like Pelletier better. There's just so much. It's closer to the 20, closer to resistance. Let's set a new alarm. About 2070. And we can, and let's put now the stuff over this little hump. Remember we talked about that song, My Lady Hump? Alex, you remember that discussion? Let's here, we have the 23 puts for next week. So I gave it extra time. 172. Right now it's 220. ACLS alarm. Nice power down bars coming out of the gate here. ACLS. MA alarm. So Deb, look, this is another good one. You know, bear 123 closer to the 2050, big old void. Let's short this yesterday's low. I could race motorcycles racing down my street. This will be a call spread also. Let me look. For 64.22. May 5-1, we're good there. 4, 58, 15. Oh, Meta relative strength award today on the fangs, at least on the 15-minute chart. Tesla still having troubles. Remember the discussion I had with my friend who called me and said what to do? And I said, Richard, this thing looks like it can go to 1.25.